to the camera so that we can get all this good information on film. How are we doing back there, Mr. Trudeau?
Good.
Are we on? Good to go?
I'll wait for just their.
All right, guys, you ready to get started? Everyone, can I have your attention at the front of the room? Welcome. Welcome to NORML, the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. I'm so glad you guys could all be with us here in Gilbert tonight. We have so much to go over. This is our halftime report. We are 6 months into our state chapterhood here at NORML in Arizona, and we've got so much information, so much good things happening, so much on the horizon. Please know that you will have a chance to talk. Welcome. Welcome to NORML. Good to see you. You may have a chance to talk tonight. Be sure that you never know who will be at a NORML meeting. We could have a police presence, so you never want to say anything that will incriminate you. Please speak one at a time when it is time to talk, so that we can hear each other speak and so that we can get all the good information that we need to get. We'll get right into it. First things first. 2014 legalization bid. I had some apprehension to begin with. I think most of you know that. The reason for that is because I wanted to get all the facts about what we're getting into. Another reason that I had apprehension is because we are a startup chapter. Initially, it's basically been myself, Dave. We've got a small state board that is a representative state board. So these folks all have their own regional chapters to take care of. We're a representative board so that we can speak as one voice. So we can all get together when we have big issues and speak together so we can work together as NORML for Arizona, so we can be stronger. We've had many great accomplishments over the last 6 months. We have come together on many things. The big issue on hand was 2014. That was our first big issue, and Dennis came to us in January with the idea. And of course, being a startup chapter, I really didn't know if we had that kind of help to give him. We didn't have the manpower. We had no money. We still have no money. I've done no fundraising because I feel that NORML in Arizona is in a proving stage where we need to prove to Arizona and to our friendly businesses that we are worthwhile, that we are doing something for Arizona, and that we are making a difference before I feel that I can go and ask them for their hard-earned money. So that's basically where we're at. So I was worried about, actually, we certainly couldn't sponsor 2014 legalization. Support it? Yes, of course I support legalization. I always have from the very beginning. Our whole state board does. In Tucson, they have actively supported it from the very get-go. I think John was a lot more enthusiastic in Tucson because they have such a network of good activists in Tucson. They've been working for years at AZ for NORML for change, and they really blew us away with votes for Prop 203. They got the vote out. Unfortunately, we weren't as organized. We had a lot of information that said we were going to just, smoke the vote. We didn't really have to work too hard. Everybody wanted, medical marijuana. So we didn't really have to do this big voter outreach. We were just going to nail this. And so I went back to school. My daughter went to work for MPP, and Phoenix NORML just kind of went along doing its thing. And, it came down to the last few months of the campaign, and folks started to, kind of talk about, well, maybe we better just in case get out the vote. And I returned to Phoenix NORML, and we did. We got out the vote. We worked really hard in those last few months. We need to work that hard. Now, we need to work that hard to 14, which I kind of believe, I'm starting to think now, the reason my mind has changed, several reasons. Because I saw the action in Tucson, and I heard from good members like Michelle Gray, and I'll just say it right here on film because I'm proud of Michelle, because what she did is she spoke out. She's always been a little outspoken activist, and I'm proud of her for that, because you know what, it made me think to myself, maybe we can do this. And the other thing that made me think was the fact that we've had subchapters popping up all over our state for the last 6 months. We have 7 subchapters now. We have 3 regionals. We've got Flagstaff, Phoenix, Tucson, and now we've got 7 subchapters. And we'll walk through them with you. We've got Cochise County is our first one. Prescott, our second one. Again, 2 places we went for our state meetings, you guys. We've had a state meeting every other month. We got NORML and Cochise up and running, having their meeting. Normal Prescott's doing a meeting every other month, very involved with Legalization 14. We've got now, in the metro area, we've got 2 on the west side. Jerry and Sue are here with us tonight who are doing Normal in Peoria. Thank you, guys. And John and his lady Lyric are doing the Normal in Buckeye. So that we have 2 outreaches on the west side, one kind of up north and one kind of out west and going towards LA. At Phoenix Normal, we used to have, remember Kitty? Used to come in from Buckeye and everybody would cheer because she came so far for a normal meeting. Well, she had to, because it was that or Tucson, that's all we had. Now we've got people stepping up all over the place because we're making it easy to have a subchapter at Normal in Arizona. That's one of my greatest, that's one of the biggest reasons that I'm feeling confident about Legalization 2014, because number 1, our people want to do this. Number 2, it's time. It's time. And with this help, we can dig into the communities. I want to dig in to do the mission of Normal, which is moving public opinion. We can be digging in, moving public opinion, and having these people sign for Legalization 2014 at the same time. We can be building this coalition now instead of waiting. And we have to thank Dennis for putting this out there, and thank you, Dennis. Thank you. Forgive me for my apprehension. I hope that it didn't cause any delay at all, but I do believe that the organization that I bring forth from now will more than make up for that delay. I've got some good ideas. We've got a lot of petitions back there, and I'm hoping you guys are going to take them. I will say another person I heard from that made me change my mind was Karen O'Keefe of MPP. And she commented on Dennis's, I think it was AZ Central. Was that Karen's comment? I loved her comment because it wasn't, you know, there was no downside. There was, it's good to bring forth an initiative all the time. And you know, I've heard 2 different messages from our head of our legal department, Keith Straub. The advice, you know, we were advised that, oh, you know, it might not happen, you know, you might want to not completely endorse it or whatever. Well, it might not happen, but you know what else might not happen? Decriminalization within the town of Gilbert. But did I still go last year and ask him for it? Hell yeah. Yes, I did. And I've heard also in our company, our conference calls, bring forth initiatives. Bring them forth. Always. Bring the decrim initiative. Hello, folks. Good to see you. You know, bring it out there. Do these things. Why? So we can start a conversation. That's exactly what Dennis was doing. So it was kind of a counter message. I understood the one side. I understand the other side. But I'm not willing to wait any longer. So there will be no reconvene about this at the end of August. It's time to act, and it's time to act now. So that's what we will be doing. And I think every one of you people in this room will be very active. I feel very confident about that. I have a couple things to throw at you. The fact is, what do we got? We got 40,000 patients. Is that what we have now? Have we approached? Are we at 40,000 or over?
Last I heard it was 38,000.
38,000 as of last year, but this year's numbers haven't been out yet. And yes, I'm an authority on all the.
He knows those things. He knows the statistics, that guy.
Yeah.
And I'm sure many of you have thought this. If those people got what, seven signatures?
They got 10.
If they got, well, that would blow us away.
Yeah.
Well, that would be good because we need those extra ones because some of them aren't going to count, and that's we're also going to talk about that later. But if every patient got 10, we would win this. We would win this. Patients do it. If a patient is too ill to do this, there's got to be somebody that believes in this enough to get out there and get those 10 signatures.
One of their caregivers, somebody.
Somebody. And they could get 20 signatures just to say, hey, I did twice as much as my quota. We need to ignite these fires of people that believe in this, because I think we can do this. If there were 260 of us in the state of Arizona that cared enough about this, 200, now, yeah, more because of the non-profit. If there were 400 of us, if there were 420 of us, people, if there's 420 activists, and let me hope and think and pray that there are 420 people in this state that are this serious, that can get out there and get 1,000 signatures. 1,000 signatures is not that much. Now, I've got a couple ideas. I've got one. I hope you guys will come up with some other ones. My great idea is how my daughter and I got 1,500 people out to the march which you're wearing. Actually, well, that's the 2010 one. I love seeing that, by the way. Thank you. Mike's wearing the March shirt. But in 2008, we got 1,500 people. Dennis, you were there, right?
I was.
Yep. Raise your hand if you were there. First March, everybody. That was just fun. Were you really?
Yeah.
In 2008?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I was laid up, I was in casts, and I didn't march. I stood there, and then you guys went around, and then I came back.
Well, thank you for
I
being
sat there
there.
all
Then you
day.
know the auspicious occasion that it
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
and it predating all our patients. How we did that, and how we got those people out there is that we took flyers to every single smoke shop. And that was what gave me a heads up about Arizona. I went, my goodness, we've got smoke shops on every corner, like there's Circle K's on every corner.
Google it, every half mile in Phoenix, there's a bike shop.
Excellent.
We got one in
Excellent.
Peoria, there's two of them, we haven't hit all of them yet.
There's a whole bunch of them
Yeah.
in every single city. And the fact is, if every one of us that was actually serious about getting these signatures and getting this done, and getting it qualified for ballot, took 4 smoke shops in their own neighborhood. 4, minimally.
Yeah.
And went and left them there. And these smoke shop owners, they're gonna let us leave them there. They, one after another, I've heard people saying that this works. If it doesn't, move on to the next one. 4 of them, leave a few. They've gotta be county by county, we've got some rules back there, we're gonna go over those. But if you took those 4 smoke shops and you tended those, I wonder how many, you just see over the next couple of weeks how many signatures you're gonna get without doing anything or approaching anyone. There's a million little things that we can do like this, and not just smoke shops, but I'm using smoke shops because we all kind of know where they are in our neighborhood. Some of us even know the guys that work there. These are our Circle K's, you guys. These are the places where we can go. This is where Nancy and I came, and every weekend we would go around Phoenix. We just drove around and put stacks of these in the smoke shops, because it was just the 2 of us. So we did it on our own. But now we've got all you guys, and we've got the sub-chapters. We've got to man our smoke shops. Take responsibility for 4 smoke shops. I bet that's going to boost your numbers. Implore your friends. We can get this done, you guys. I believe it. I believe we can get it done. And you know what we can do when we do get it done, Dennis?
What?
We can make Arizona history.
We sure
Because
can.
we've never, we can't, yes, we
We
can,
sure
yes, we can.
Everybody says it's impossible.
We have
We have
never,
to make history.
we've never done a volunteer petition drive that is actually qualified for ballot. Now, that was one of my main concerns. When I heard that, I thought, geez, we really are up against a monster. But when I broke it down for the numbers, and Dave was really, I know you did this early too, and I didn't listen. He's been a lot more enthusiastic about this than I have, because I saw what happened last time. We had a couple of things going on at the same time. I didn't want our community to divide, and I sure as heck didn't want us to fight between ourselves, and I certainly didn't want to be the person that gave any of that out. That is for sure, because if we're going to be on the same page, we're going to be on the same page whether it's my idea or not. It doesn't have to be my voice that's the one voice that we're speaking with. I want to speak with all of our voices together so we all agree. Eric was also a lot more enthusiastic about this than I was in the beginning. Because, you know, he's like I say, he's a community guy. And he believed that we could do it, you know, and I was very apprehensive because we didn't have the manpower or any money. Again, we still have no money, but what do we have? We have small donations where we can buy stacks of petitions, which we do have a big stack in the back to give to you guys to use and to make good with. We can do things like that. We can organize things where people are getting more signatures. We can monitor how we're doing, and we can help. And if we can't help, we've got to get off our rear ends and say that we're not really for legalization, because if we are for legalization, we better be out there collecting those signatures, period. That's what's going on right now. We need to go about it in the right way. You know, we've talked a lot about a couple, you know, ways we can go about things here. We want to come at this mainstream. We want to come at this so people feel comfortable. I've got truth flyers back there to give you guys some talking points while you're collecting flyers, signatures. If you want to use those, that's a good thing. Lobbying is another thing that people do. Sometimes they don't do because they're a little afraid to do it. Well, it's not nearly as hard as you think. And we can go over a little bit of that a little bit later. But the fact is that if we can make history. We're all on the same page. We're all working towards the same goal. We all wear green hats. Every single one of us. Doesn't matter what business you work for. It doesn't matter what organization you're from. Maybe you're not a NORML member, maybe you don't subscribe to NORML. Maybe you had a bad taste in your mouth about NORML some other time and you just don't like NORML. Well, NORML is people. It's like people that don't like government. You don't like government? Well, government's just people. That's a heck. Don't tell me you don't like people, because everybody likes, most people like people. I like to think that. But NORML is people. NORML is good people. And sometimes we fall into gossip and competition, and I think that's unfortunate. I like to call an end to all that. I say if you wear a green hat, if you're for legalization of marijuana, we're all on the same page. We've got to not gossip about each other. We've got to not be spreading things that we're not sure is what's going on. I feel that we spend too much time in the last couple of years. Our community spent way too much time on gossip, competition, and just junk that doesn't belong here. Green hats. We all have an imaginary green hat, no matter who we are. You guys know that in this community. And this is a community. Where you have a community, you have people. Where you have people, yeah, there's going to be rumor and gossip. Got to put that aside. Put it all aside and forge forward. Forge forward. Like they used to tell you, oh, ignore it. You know, that's what you do. Ignore it and forge forward. Don't not go to a gathering or a petition drive because somebody's going to be there that you don't like. It doesn't matter. You go on the other side. Because we need to all be doing this. All wearing the green hats. We all have a green hat on. That's one of the most important things you guys can remember. Don't get caught in the muck and the mire. Okay, let's see what else we got. It's the NORML halftime report. Everybody feeling okay? We've only been in this about a half an hour. Anybody have any questions about legalization 2014? The apprehension, the questions, the this, the that, the thoughts?
It's decriminalization, right? Not legalization.
This is the fellow that would actually
It
answer.
is actually legalization.
Oh. Oh. I thought it was just decriminalization.
Well, I have a question about something new come up.
Well, hold on, Jerry. Let's finish up this thought because this is important.
Well, it actually makes it legal for anybody of voting age to use marijuana in Arizona.
Oh, awesome.
It says that you can have 2.5 ounces, you can grow 12 plants, you can grow them in your house under lock and key, or you can grow it in your backyard behind a locally zoned fence. Whatever you grow in your yard has to stay on the premises.
Okay.
So, you know, if you have 12 plants, you can get a lot of weed.
Yeah.
But you can only transport or be caught with 2.5 ounces. There is a gray area that people presented to me, and that is the edibles, the tinctures, the hemp oil, the wax. That is not clearly defined in the initiative. But I consider that medical marijuana.
Okay.
And I'm only concerned, really, what I was only concerned with is the actual plant material. And it is not intended to affect the medical marijuana initiative, what the Medical Marijuana Act at all. So that will remain in place. But as the 25-mile limit is starting to kick in because the dispensaries are coming in. But this will make that moot.
And also what I'm doing, filing it, I got the word from the lawyer, finished, done, ready to file as of 4 o'clock this afternoon.
And that is,
So-
you know, this is not a conflict.
No, what we are doing actually, we are enhancing and magnifying each other's case by what we are doing.
Yes.
So, yeah, I'm supportive of what he is doing and 1,000% collecting signatures, and he and all his people are supporting what I'm doing, because what I'm doing is, medical marijuana is not the issue is they're restricting my right to choose. That is my issue.
So when Dennis submitted his initiative, he had a write-up in the newspaper. I don't know if you contacted them or they contacted them.
Oh, when I submitted the initiative, we had like 17 different interviews in
Right.
3 days.
Did you have it set up, or did they come?
No,
to you?
they all
come to
came to
you.
me.
So they
Yeah,
may
and
come to
that's
you?
what, no,
They
they
will
already
come.
have.
Oh, they have, okay,
They
so we should
already-
be seeing something?
I've already given 2 interviews to the New Times and the Arizona Republic. And in fact, I've done 2 different ones, one on the DUID, because they wanted to ask me about it, and about my case. But once it's filed and then it's public knowledge, and it's public record, I'm planning they're going to be coming out of the woodwork.
Okay.
And my lawyers
It'll be
plan
good.
on that too.
I'm sorry, but what's your case? Or
My
what's
case
your
is,
initiation?
that the 25-mile rule is unconstitutional because according to the Arizona Constitution, and this is a quote, Article 27, Section 2, no law shall compel any person no law shall compel any person, employer, or healthcare system to participate in any healthcare system. So, as long as I follow the Arizona Medical Marijuana Act, I do not have to belong to the Arizona Medical Marijuana program. So them forcing me to use their dispensary is against the Constitution because they cannot restrict my right of choice. So that's why I'm fighting them. I choose to be a self-provider. And they're telling me I can't. Well, that violates the Constitution.
Well, we wish you all well, sir, with that, obviously, and we thank you for your good work out there.
Well, will that be for everybody or only you?
Only
No,
medical
no, no.
marijuana.
No, this applies, this does not apply just to patients. This applies to every single Arizona citizen. Because if you choose to grow any plant for your own healthcare needs in your own house, you can. It's in our Constitution. Says if I have to have a knee surgery, you never know, I might have to go back. And I don't trust pharmaceuticals companies. I will grow my own poppy plant in my own house. I will milk it for my own opium, and I will take that and have it tested, bring that into the doctor and say, look, I don't trust the pharmaceutical companies. I am a self-provider for my pharmaceuticals. This is what it was tested as. Use it. Legally.
Excellent.
You can grow aloe vera, you don't have to. You can grow garlic, you can grow anything you want for your own healthcare need. And then we have that right in Arizona.
Very good. Well, obviously, we wish you well, sir. I hope
Thank
that
you.
it goes well. I want to go back to Dennis and his 18-year-old thing that I caught. Actually, you know what's funny? Until I got serious about this, I didn't even know you slipped that in there. And I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you for putting 18 in there.
Of course,
instead
you
of 21.
have the right to die for our country, you have the right to get ahead on.
That's right. Everybody one at a time, please.
Yeah.
Everyone on the same page, please. We've got a lot of work to do tonight. 18 years old, they're already smoking it.
You bet.
They shouldn't be in trouble. And alcohol by far, according to the Arizona Youth Survey, is our biggest problem. Alcohol is definitely our biggest problem. Any lawmaker, if you you don't even have to say the statistics that I know this young man has got. Now, hold on one second, keep that thought. But you don't even have to say anything. You tell them the Arizona Youth Survey will tell you that alcohol is by far our biggest problem, and they wince. They know, because they know they can feel it in their stomach. Yes, sir.
So although it's, in my opinion, politically the best thing to do is comparing marijuana to alcohol, which I think a lot of people are doing. But if you do have someone that you're trying to approach with the signature, or to get their signature on the ballot initiative, and they talk about having reservations about the age being at 18, just politely remind them that look at any study in the last 30 years, when you ask high school students, 10th graders, what's easier for you to get, alcohol, tobacco, or marijuana, the answer is always marijuana. Why? Because it's illegal. And if you want to get alcohol or tobacco, you have to go somewhere and show somebody an ID and prove that you're a certain age. And that's kind of the whole point. So if somebody's opposed to legalization because they say they're trying to keep young people safe, just remind them that what they're supporting actually does the opposite, and the facts show that.
And that children are
Let's
killing
introduce
themselves.
Scott Cecil.
Scott Cecil from Students for Sensible Drug Policy. Doing some good work. He just went to Washington. We're going to have him talk in just a couple minutes about what he's up to. Yeah, very smart character right there.
So I think along the same lines, you should also use that we feed our kids pharmaceuticals.
Thank you.
And everybody has an endocannabinoid receptor system inside their body to accept the THC and the CBD molecule, so we have a symbiotic relationship with plant. I think that sums it up.
Sure, that's how.
Thank you, Mike. And you know, something, a basic statistic is we lose 10 kids, 10 kids a month, 100 children a year. In Arizona, in our state alone, we lose 10 kids a month from pharmaceutical overdose.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's
Actually,
kids 18 years and under, sir, there. And I've got more talking points. Yes,
Yeah,
Jerry.
you hear about the billboard they're doing. No jumbotrons, they had a safer than alcohol ad,
And
and they forced them to take it out.
right in front of the
We were sharing that
NASCAR.
one around.
Yeah,
that good,
they-
that's a
they-
good commercial.
but
Yeah, but they got so many free ads on all the national news.
They forced them to pull the ad that was on the news.
We can call, I would call, let's
That's
get to
what
the
I find
bottom
out
of that.
who's
We want to
responsible
call
for that.
and back them up. I know they have great lobbyists and they will approach the people they need to approach. However, the more calls, the better. So we will
Yeah.
find out who to call and complain about
We should
that.
call NASCAR.
Something I was.
And call NASCAR.
Yeah.
NASCAR, that's an excellent idea, Mike.
speak
Call
Southern.
NASCAR, we want
I speak Southern.
marijuana.
Yeah.
Call NASCAR, you guys, that's perfect, perfect. Just contact NASCAR, you pissed? Okay.
Is that?
Contact NASCAR.
The
There's
NASCAR?
Everyone. NASCAR.
Jumbotron, big sign, and it was saying,
Here or at the race?
here, yeah,
Oh.
it says, marijuana is safer than alcohol and had all the conditions.
It's a great
And of course,
commercial.
it's kind of like Prop 203 when they're shitting around back in that room.
Yeah.
It was an excellent
Oh, I like
commercial, had a little country music in the background, made you feel good, humming right along into the NASCAR scene. And I was like, oh my gosh, they got this done, and then this gentleman came and told me that they got it pulled. I hope they showed it at least once, but that's,
It was on the-
it's
It was
unbelievable.
on the
We can
news
all
Sunday.
contact NASCAR, that's the easiest thing to do.
More
Just-
attention this week than any other commercial that has been on TV.
Absolutely.
That's the funny thing.
So contact NASCAR. That's a great idea, Mike. Okay, you guys, moving along. We'd like to go through some things that we have gotten done. That was something we're going to get done, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that and the proper way we're going to get that done. Right, Eric? Gonna get that done. Get that done.
What?
But the accomplishments we've had so far, and I'm sorry, my smartphone isn't being so smart. And generally, I wouldn't read it, but I did put this together during work today, so forgive me. There's so many thoughts and so many things that we have to do that I'll tell you what, the last thing is throwing all that information together to get to you. So I apologize for that. But the great news is we've traveled around our state for the last 6 months. We went from Prescott College to Cochise County. We went out to Sholo for our normal summer camp, which was awesome. Arizona's sick of prohibition, you guys. I mean, it's not just here in the city. It's not just, we can get it here, but we're not going to get it done in the nether regions of Arizona. Oh, yes, we are, because everybody is sick of prohibition. Everybody understands the truth. Don't let your lawmakers think that this is some kind of conservative state that doesn't accept marijuana. Conservatives love marijuana. I know. I've been on both sides of the aisle. That's why I know we need to vote for pro-marijuana candidates, because voting on the left, voting on the right doesn't always get you anywhere. They kind of just end up in the middle when they get in office anyway. Voting for people that are actually on our side is something we are working towards, and that is one of our coming accomplishments that is being worked on right now. We've got an excellent intern from Brigham Young University who will be at our ASU area meeting. We're not sure if we're actually on campus. We're not going to pay giant money to be at ASU, but we will pay for a decent meeting hall to be nearby if we can actually get there. If we have any student hookups, if anybody is an alumni, student hookups, we're
Are
looking.
you with ASU?
Well, I actually am a student at MCC, but I founded the first chapter of SSCP in the state at Chandler Gilbert Community College a few years ago. So why don't we talk afterwards, because we are a club on campus at ASU and we can request the hall.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, so all of us helping each
Well,
other,
it's,
so that we don't
No,
spend money
well,
we
I don't
don't need
know.
to spend.
no, we got.
We need to spend that money on more petitions. Sorry, I'm doing that. What we've done, we've gone around the country, the state, gone over the state, and we've been delivering info bombs as we go. We've gotten if any of you have gotten our little packets, I will say, Mike, you picked up a supporting business packet.
Oh, the school
But
one?
that's okay. We've been giving these packets out, check it out. We've been giving these packets out since we started in February, and in them have all kinds of great information. I've overwhelmed our subchapters with information and PDF files for all the things that we can do. However, I've come down to 3 talking points to make it easy on all of you subchapters and all of us to make sure that we have the information that we need. So I never hear in my ear, oh, I went to the NORML meeting, I had a good time, but I don't know what I'm taking home from it. I don't know what to do now. You know, I heard that a lot over the years, and I regret that, and I don't want that to happen anymore. So we got 3 things: get educated, take action, and vote. That's my new talking point. get educated, take action, and vote. If anybody wants to know what they can do about prohibition, those three things. There's such a wealth of information, and we've got the easy, and SSDP is on here, sir, because they are a wealth of information, just like normal.org. You could sit there forever. I call it normal you, because you go, it's like Amsterdam University, except for it's online. So you go in there to normal.org and hit the act button to talk to all your everybody. It hooks you up with everybody. Or you can just get educated in there. There's also a million other little places to go. Here, little tidbits of information. When you guys leave here, I want you to take one of these empty folders. At the back, there's these 3 papers that are the most important. If you haven't already got them, please get them. Get educated, take action, and vote. These 3 will help you along. If you consider lobbying, if you're thinking about going to visit your lawmakers, even the town council, just how to act. Kind of how to act a little bit so that people don't go down there and act the fool, because we want to be taken seriously. We want you to go down and really be prepared. Yes, sir.
I've been down to our Capitol 3 times in the past, say, 4 months. There are procedures you need to know, and if you're going down, feel free to ask or get in contact with me. I'll tell you which secretary of where to walk into and who to ask what. But there are procedures involved when you're dealing with walking into a state house to meet with any rep.
Absolutely, and you know, this will give you some of that, a little bit of that. I don't think that actually covers the procedure at the State House. But this will get you in the door and make you feel responsible when you get there. We also have one other little tidbit that I've been doing. I went and saw John Kavanaugh when he decided he was going to repeal medical marijuana. I visited with him, and I got a little busy. I didn't visit with anyone until last month, and then I went to see Matt Salmon. He was too busy, unfortunately, so he sent his representative, Chuck Gray, who was awesome. We had a nice discussion for about a half an hour. I left him with what I'm calling the truth packet, and I also sent one to Kimberly Yee. In there is a printout. It's about, I don't know if it's 30 pages long. It's the National Cancer Institute's program on cannabis and cannabinoids. So you get, and in it is highlighted where it says cannabis has been used for medicine for, you know, forever, that it is a pain medication, because they like to say it's not for pain. Well, there it was. We've got on the back label, we've got the U.S. patent as the, what is it, cannabis and
cannabinoids as a neuroprotectant.
Neuroprotectant. That's their patent the United States got, and it's back there. I put that in there. I put the letter from the National Cancer Institute in there that said, that was to me, after I addressed them about the cure for cancer, the possible cure for cancer. They came back and they sent me a lovely email that said, you will be astounded by the amount of research that's going on with cancer research and cannabis compounds. Yes, sir.
Something to add to your packet that I explore people about all the time. It's called the clinical endocannabinoid deficiency. And it's a PubMed. I got the links for you. I can give it to you.
Send me those links, because that's another good one.
That's how you can have a deficiency in a cannabinoid, and this is the PubMed telling us this.
And this is the best thing, when you can use a credible reference, like our government, our own government.
Do you have the ADOT?
ADOT, they have stuff on marijuana in
The
there.
ADOT study, they did a 3-year study, it's a 143-page report.
Excellent, that's another good
It
one.
shows marijuana does not affect driving.
Driving,
Yes.
ADOT,
I drive better.
See Michigan Supreme
we all
Court
do.
just came out with their answer on the UID.
More considerate driver, absolutely. What was that,
Yeah, no
Mike?
road rage.
Michigan Supreme Court just ruled today that a medical marijuana patient has a right to be able to drive with metabolites in their body. They
Excellent,
reversed.
excellent, well, that's a
How
big
good
victory.
you know.
Arizona, my dad, because I just got a letter. I lost my purse, so I went to go get a new driver's license, and they give you this piece of paper, and it says, have you been giving any new prescriptions that could possibly affect your ability to drive an automobile? And I said, and I shouldn't have said this, but I said supposedly medical marijuana. I get back a letter telling me that I might have to get my driver's license taken away.
Yep.
And that I
Why?
also might have to go down and take periodic driving tests, random driving. No,
They're gonna random drive test you?
I got
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to go check that out.
Have you contacted a lawyer? Okay, everybody please on the same page. Got a half an hour left, guys. Sorry. Feel free to move out of the office, whatever this is, meeting.
I wrote him back and I told him because my card is due in.
Guys, Keith, love you, my friend, but I can't hear this. This lady's our first timer here at Normal. I'd like to hear what you've got to say.
Well, I wrote him back a letter. My card's due like August 12th or something like this. And they cut my rights for driving because I'm within, the 25-mile thing as the crow flies, but anyway. So I just told them I'm no longer gonna participate in the program. Well, I just told them that. I don't wanna have to go in periodically for driving tests, and I live way out in the middle of nowhere. I can't do without it.
What area do you live in?
At San Pan Valley.
goodness gracious.
Okay.
I can't
You really
believe
need a
they do
normal
that.
down there, just saying. So have you contacted a lawyer about this at all?
No.
You might want to talk to Jamal Allen. He's our guy. He's on our state board. Obviously, Tom Dean is also on the Phoenix board, and he's another good
Jamal
lawyer.
Allen?
But I know Jamal is our DUI specialist, really, and he is right there on our website. Yes, sir.
As well as you go to
Along that same
normal.org.
line, she's having trouble
It should
with,
read your location.
she made a mistake of being honest with one of her doctors. So now they slap on their marijuana smokers.
But they're on my
Warnings
chart.
on her chart. I don't know.
Oh, I see.
Did they already know?
Because he's not
Oh,
really-
they didn't
he's
know.
not-
Yes, yeah, so, well, what she's doing now, she's telling, well, you're
Well, why would they
uneducated.
not put
You
out
know what
that
you're talking
opinion?
about,
This
because you can't
also
enforce it, right? How
says
do
if
you know
you
you're
don't
smoking?
answer
When they put that on there saying
that
it's
it's
say.
federal criminal offense and they're going to jail.
On my chart.
So I thought that
Tom's in your area. You might want to talk to him.
Yeah, they put right on there.
That sounds like you need a new doctor. That's what it sounds
Well, see, I did.
like. Okay, guys,
I told him I had to do it.
back on.
And then I wonder if they just tried to scare you.
May I have your attention,
We'll have to find
please?
out. Check with the.
What's the matter, Chuck? What, you think we should take a 10-minute break? Does everybody want a 10-minute smoke break, and then we come back in and go over the rest of this? 10-minute smoke break. Smoke and be loud.
I know, you're the first person I've ever actually, so it's not like things to find out.
Well, and then below it, it says.
I like those conspiracy theories.
Oh, yeah.
Move it. Just for sure. Oh, he's fine, yeah. A man for living.
Yeah, here in Minnesota.
Probably Louis Mayor first.
No?
Are we on,
Sense, I just
sir?
went there.
We're back on. We're back to the normal meeting. Everybody can have a chair back there. If you don't have a chair, we can get, well, we can get a chair, but there are other chairs up here. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed your break. I'd like to take my green hat off to Chuck and thank him for the suggestion of
Thanks,
taking a
Chuck.
10-minute break. Thanks, Chuck. Good idea. Chuck shared with me when we dismissed you that people have a 50-minute attention span, is that it? And then
They've
we get a little
included, that's right.
That's why we like,
College
yeah,
class,
we definitely want to move it along and make sure that you guys are interested. We have 50 members-ish, around 50 members that are formal members and growing all the time. And we're making it easier for our subchapters to profit from our membership sales. We bumped that up to 30% back to chapters that sell memberships to Normal in Arizona. It comes down to a $4.20 profit to the state chapter, after materials, after everything, after postage and everything we have to do to get a member packet and a card done and out to our members so that they feel part of our organization. 43-year tradition in America. It's an American institution, Normal. And we need help, you guys. I'm gonna start asking. I'm sorry, I have to pass this around. We kicked it off with a raffle ticket purchase, and we will draw that raffle ticket for free membership in a little while. But if you guys have any spare change, we can use it. You know why? Because we've got a ton of paperwork and stuff that we gotta distribute. This pays for it. If you guys can spare anything, don't hurt yourselves with it. Thank you, sir.
And don't
don't break it, I don't want anybody to get hurt physically with it.
No throwing it around or nothing.
No throwing it around or anything.
feel like I'm in church.
It is kind of like our church. Everybody, one of the things that we have done, we've done some effective lobby outreach to our community, I think, at NORML in Arizona. We did get some feedback over the last 6 months from some people in the know, on the inside, who've become our friends, and some who aren't so much our friends. Well, they're our friends in humanity, but maybe not, we don't think the same. Carolyn Short of Keep AZ Drug Free gave me a heads up about how they kind of make fun of us when we go down to the Capitol and we enjoy ourselves and have a good time and we shout out about freedom. We're having a good time, but they're inside laughing at us. It's unfortunate. And I hate being the person to deliver this message to my friends because I enjoy a good protest too. Heck, we did the march in 2008, my daughter and I. We mentioned earlier, I love to say it because I'm so proud of it. It was such a wonderful day. We all got together and everybody enjoyed freedom. There weren't any patients, everybody just enjoyed freedom. We were all down there. And no one was arrested. And that's why I really think that our lawmakers know the truth. But proper lobbying, if we can lobby properly, I've heard a lot of good feedback about the last 6 months and what they've seen. Dennis, I know you've been going down there with Michael Weiser. I know that these are getting more organized. People are bringing the truth with them when they go. We at NORML in Arizona would be happy to provide you, if you are a serious lobbyist, with a truth packet. I would love to. I would love you to have it because what I do is I put it in a lovely white envelope like our membership packets, if any of you have gotten them, and little sticker, proud to be NORML, and I leave it with them, and I have this packet to refer to. Even if they're not thinking about it now, maybe later they'll go, I'm going to go through this and see. But, it's a nice touch to leave there, and we're happy to provide that to you guys just as community outreach. We've given more personal power to our members in these pamphlets. Get educated, take action, and vote. We've spread that all over the state, and we've also put more power in the people's hands by allowing them to have SubChapters without having to fill out the old necessary bylaws, paperwork. We picked up the bylaws straight from NORML.org, and we just basically used those and put NORML in Arizona in it. So they are straight from NORML.org. There are Washington, D.C. bylaws, and we just copy them, and we adhere to them. And we've added a couple little things, because you know what? I wanted to create a place where everyone could feel comfortable at our NORML. So I do kind of try and promote a family-friendly outreach. We do have in our declarations that there's certain things that we won't abide by at NORML in Arizona, because I want to appeal to a lot of people. A lot of women get turned away from our movement because of the projection of women in our culture sometimes. I like to say there's two sides to that. It's fun to dress up. It's fun to have fun. We like to go to the expos. I love to, dress and have fun, but we don't need to throw ourselves out there as women. We have brains that we can use, and I like to project our brains, and I am for that. And some women are very beautiful and smart, and I'm very happy to have my picture taken with them, which I did at the expo. Lots of lovely ladies, and but the fact is, we want this to be more of a family kind of movement. We know that Arizona is a conservative state. Conservatives love marijuana, but they're still conservative, and we do have an overwhelming amount of conservative folks in Arizona. So to appeal to a broader mass, we do like to have family-friendly events like what's coming up, our Harvest Fest on November 9th. That will be more of a carnival kind of atmosphere where we do allow, there will be legal alcohol for sale at the Sail-In.
Potentially a smoke area as well.
Potentially a patient's roped off area. Anyone who's been to the Sail-In knows it's a great place to be. But we want to appeal to families because this is a family issue. From American Drug War to Cannabis Destiny, anyone who saw that film knows that this is a cradle to grave issue. This is not an issue that is just for 21 and over. That's why, again, I applaud Dennis for including 18-year-old folks in his initiative, because really the kids are doing it and they might as well stay safer while they're experimenting, and that's where I'm at. I'd rather keep them clean until they're 18, but we know we have to deal in reality, and reality says that kids experiment. I did mention we had an intern. He'll be speaking with us at in or around ASU for our Back to School with Safer Choice event, August 31st. We want to see all of you guys down there. Cameron's going to be with us to talk about the Students for Sensible Drug Policy. We've got both of our lawyers, Jamal Allen and Tom Dean, will be joining us to answer folks' questions about DUI, about stuff on campus, which they are both a little bit experts in. And just talking to the kids about the safer choice and getting them involved and getting them to know. We potentially have a parent-teen support group starting, which we may be announcing on that day, if not very soon after. So we hope you guys will be involved there. But we have a lot of things going on. Let's see. Now, biggest thing tonight, we need to talk about the rules. And Dennis is going to come up and help you with this one. Come on up, Dennis, and let's get up.
Can I yield the floor to Scott?
Cameron? I keep calling you Cameron. His friend is Cameron, and I met
Cameron
them
is
both.
going to be there, though.
I met them both. Cameron is going to be at ASU, but Scott's coming too. I met them both at the same time. These fellows are both doing SSDP, and they're both awesome. And yes, come on up and help me. Well, what we want to do, the next thing we're going to do here is we're going to talk about how many hands go up if you are collecting signatures for Legalize 2014. I haven't yet, but my hand is going up because I will be. Actually, we have been at our table. You're right. No, we've been collecting quite a few.
I don't like you mean it.
No, I mean me. I haven't stood there with the thing in my hand. But we want to do it right. We will. We want to do it the right way, and we want to make sure that these signatures count. Shh, guys over there. We want to make sure our signatures count. No matter if we put them in our smoke shops, and we use the smoke shop method, which I really hope you guys will. Back there, you guys weren't here. We're asking everyone to take 4 smoke shops that are near you and just leave the petitions there, because a lot of these guys will let you leave them there and just go there every few days and see how it's progressing.
Do we sort of like a triangle pop-up or anything to put by them?
Well, that's what we're going to talk about.
Oh.
What's
And Scott's going to
legal.
talk about SSDP,
Well,
what's going on at ASU, and then I will talk.
You're going to talk about the petitions, because we really need to get the rules about how to correctly, okay.
Would you like
Talk
to
about
go over that first? It's whatever you want to do.
No, I want you to talk about that briefly, sir, and then we're going to get to that.
I'll be super
Thank
brief,
you.
I promise. And if you need me to wrap it up,
Just because
just
the
do
night
that.
is, we've got about a half an hour.
Just to be really fast, Students for Sensible Drug Policy, we have about 200 chapters internationally, most here in the United States. What we generally focus on is changing or trying to enact a Good Samaritan law on college, universities, and campuses, as well as equalizing punishment for alcohol and tobacco. So for example, at ASU, if I was shooting up heroin in my dorm with someone and they overdosed, if there was a Good Samaritan law in place, I would be able to call the police and know that I wasn't going to be arrested, potentially saving my dorm mate's life. SSTP does not advocate drug use, but we are saying if people are going to be using drugs, we want it to be safe as possible. So just to piggyback off some of the stuff you were saying, just to give you some history about what SSTP has done, a lot of our former executive directors are leaders nationally in this movement right now. And this last election cycle, we actually made 70,000 phone calls in Colorado for Amendment 64, including 18,000 phone calls on election day.
Excellent.
So
Excellent.
we can get enough signatures on this ballot. I know Dennis and I talked about maybe by December, if we had a benchmark saying this is how many signatures have been gathered, we can start to get some of these parties that nationally that might be a little reluctant to put any money or resources on the ground here to say, hey, these guys are in it to win it. And once it gets on the ballot, anything can happen.
That's right.
So my ask for you guys is if you have a child or a neighbor or a sibling or a friend or whoever that is a student in high school or any of the Maricopa community colleges or any university in Arizona, please come talk to me after the meeting or give me your information on this sign-up sheet so that I can get in touch with them and try and get them to start chapters at their schools. Arizona is really untapped as far as SSDP chapters go, but just here in Maricopa County, we've got upwards of close to 300,000 students just in Maricopa County. I'm going to MCC, I'm trying to start a chapter there right now. That's the largest community college in the country, 25,000 students. ASU is the largest public university in the country, 60,000 students. So what we're trying to do is get those people mobilized, motivated, and active. I think we've got huge untapped wells of people that can participate in this. And I just wanted to say real quick, please go to the ssdp.org website. It's got a bunch of information, just like NORML's website, as far as lobbying techniques, things that you can say, how to approach voters. talking points, facts, and figures. And then I just wanted to say, you were talking about, I mean, we've all been to normal meetings or meetings of any other kind of drug reform organization. And what usually ends up happening is you have a handful of people who, it seems like the only reason they're there is to show the room how much they know about drug policy and not really to advance the agenda of what's happening. So if that's something that's been happening here in the past, I just say knock it off, because I can tell you that my most recent experience with SSDP was going to Washington, D.C. with a couple dozen other students and lobbying Congress on reforming drug laws. And that culminated in us having an event with Grover Norquist and Jared Polis. Those two people are about as far as you can possibly fucking be on the U.S. political spectrum, and they came together to plan this event. So if we have conservative stalwart Grover Norquist, the guy who gets all the Republicans to sign this pledge, and we have gay, liberal, possibly Jewish Jared Polis from Colorado. They're different in every way. Please excuse me for being offensive. But the point is, if those two people can come together, it seems really silly for anyone in this room or part of this organization to put their own agenda and their own egos ahead of this movement, because it needs to happen. There have been 200,000 students just like me who have lost their financial aid because they were arrested for marijuana. It's wrong, and we need to stop locking people up, especially as a person of color who's in college. There's more young men who look like me that are either dead or behind bars because of drugs. We're not supposed to be in colleges like the one I go to. I'm one of the people that was lucky enough not to fall into one of those traps. And so I feel like I have an obligation to advocate on behalf of those people who can't do it, and I'm asking for your help to do that.
Okay. I've got some of my little rules here that I came up with because I went to the Secretary of State's website. And let's see, where did I put it? So, no, I don't have it. See, I told you.
I got it right
I know. Ooh. No, I want to make sure my quick sheet that I'm making gels with yours. Because I want people that have it just simple and in their face.
You know Lucas Bear in Flagstaff? Lucas?
Was that the guy that was going to do that movie? Yeah.
Did you do an interview?
I sat down with him, but it was more just in helping on the production side, because that's what I do. And then I was trying to like.
Okay, guys.
Oh.
Hey, Dennis, you're on right now.
All right, go for it, Dennis.
Camera's rolling. Okay, first off, correct me if I'm wrong. Guys, everybody, attention up here. Do we have to have these 4 papers with us when we're collecting signatures?
They have to be actually attached by law to the petition. They have to remain attached. And they're
Bound
not-
by staple or bound by?
Bound by staple.
By staple, folks, staple.
And there's a possibility that the petition would be rejected if he was to restaple it. If he was to tear it apart and restaple it, that's a possibility that it could actually be
Because it's been altered.
because it's been altered.
Let me get this straight. Every time we have one of these sheets, every time, it has to have these other 4 sheets
Yes, it does.
stapled to it, each single petition. This is something we did not know. I thought we just had to have it present.
No, it
Has to be stapled to each and every one for these things to be valid. Okay, that's another one I'm going to add to my quick list. 4-page text, separating petitions by county, correct?
Yes.
If you are in Pima County, you can't sign a petition that says Maricopa. And where would it say? Would it say here and here?
The very first blank on the petition is the very first blank is for the people, for the county that the people's signatures are on this petition. If you were in Maricopa County and you put Maricopa here and you got, say, 12 signatures and a couple people came in from Flagstaff, Coconino County, and they signed the same petition, their signatures would be invalid.
Won't count.
You have to put their signatures on a separate petition that says Coconino County.
So you have to have a separate set of 4 stapled to another set that said, no, it's twice, it'll say Maricopa, Maricopa here
Now,
on
the
these 2 blanks.
second blank is the county that you live in. That will remain the same because you're going to stay living where you're
So
living.
that's always your county in the second blank.
There are 15 different counties in Arizona. So in theory, you'd need 15 petitions, but normally you only need 2 or 3.
I've been going with about 3.
Yeah.
So if you leave 3 sets like this in 4 smoke shops, 3 sets, see how fast they fill up, you guys, because you might be able to do it without doing a lot of work, just checking in at your smoke shop. Yes, Mike?
So when I was reading the state rules, I read it as we have to be present, or somebody has to be present when they sign it.
Yes, you're right.
And then that person needs to sign the back
Correct.
of the
So if we're
form.
leaving petitions at a smoke shop,
You got to be there.
no,
They
well,
need to be
they have to
They
He
be
have
has
present.
to
Right.
be, he has to be actually, whoever
Whoever-
takes them
right.
has to be the one that's looking after it.
Responsible.
Yeah,
And
and
responsible
then they're
and then
supposed
sign the
to,
back.
they're supposed to
They're the ones.
notarize it.
Oh,
So they have to take that responsibility. We can't just kind of leave them around more like a.
I misunderstood. I took one petition pack and to my patient center in Gilbert. So I was in Gilbert, they were too at the time they signed. That's when not all the patients live in Gilbert. Some of them were in.
But
The
do they live
county.
in Maricopa
So
County?
do I need to email them and ask them to?
Are they all
Outside the
in the
petition.
county? It's not the city, it's
It's
the
county.
county.
No, I mean, they're not all in the same county. So do I have to just cross it
Yeah,
out?
you
on
do.
the side?
Those won't count.
Okay.
Don't cross them out, just, if there's a mistake like that, just let it be.
Let them
Okay,
do
so is
it.
the best thing to
They'll
just
do it.
email those people and
Yes,
Have them
ask
sign
them to
a
stop
new
by
one.
and sign a new one?
Yes, that's
And
a
if-
fine idea.
and if
I
it's,
was present for every signature.
Because they think they signed it and
I
it's not
even have
gonna
a copy
count.
of their ID.
if you get contacted, cross it out, tell them they have to sign another petition.
Because now they think they signed to legalize and they didn't because it won't count. And that's the other thing, everyone. You know, there's a certain amount of pride in making sure you signed, making sure your signature counts. So look after these, because if it doesn't count, that's a person that walked away thinking they were part of change, and they weren't. So you're denying them their vote here. So let's really look after these rules. We'll make a sheet, we'll put this online, so that everybody has this in their face, so that we know these. Okay, Dennis, let's see. What's
Next thing that's really important is you have to check volunteer. Because everybody is a volunteer in this.
Must be X,
And even
extra.
if it isn't checked, I mean, I'll go through and check it, but, you know, let's face it, we're all kind of criminals in a way. So,
For
We don't
now.
want to be more.
yeah, we push the limits, but
Right.
we can change things a little bit.
If we do it right, if we do this right, and these
It'll work.
signatures count, we can do this. Registered voters only.
Yes.
If they're not registered, they still have a chance, because you can just have that handy voter registration form with you. And on the spot, if you really want to be clever, that's what we were doing at our booth. Okay, kiddo, well, here, sign up. I will send them in. If you get them to me, I'll make sure they get in and that they're done right, because they have to be done right also. If you have these filled out, they've got to be done right or they're not going to count. So read the tiny set of rules at the top of the voter registration thing. A lot of times we have them, tonight we don't. I'm sorry, it's one thing I didn't print out. There's a ton of other stuff. But you can register them on the spot.
That's true.
If they will do it, then they can sign Legalize 2014 and that's another signature right there.
Another thing about voter registration, if you have a smartphone and you have internet access, you can register them right there on the spot.
Beautiful.
You can call up a web page, and I don't know exactly what it is, but if you Google.
Serviceaz.gov.
We've
Okay,
got a link on our normalarizona.org.
so you can have that on your phone, you
Bam.
can have an iPad or that's hooked up, and you can register someone right there and then.
And you can go, you don't have to remember, because it's on normalinarizona.org, register to vote. There's a button, you just hit it, it goes right to that website that one you spoke of. So register to vote if you're not, for heaven's sake, and make sure that you are also registered. Because a lot of times people let that go. And then all of a sudden it creeps up on you and, oops, I missed the deadline, and then you didn't get to vote. Do you know how many people didn't actually vote in Prop 203? It's alarming, the people that come to me and say, you know, I didn't think I had to vote, you know. We would have so much more of a mandate now, you guys, if all our people voted. Voting is so much more important than I ever thought. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm a little bit confused on this, so we are allowed,
No, when you drop it off at the smoke shop, and they gather signatures.
Oh, we do, we can drop it off.
You
But
can drop
they-
it off, but,
I have to go back and pick it up.
yeah, but not only that, we have to have a notary, they have to get them notarized before you can pick it up.
They have to then be involved in our campaign,
Yeah, they have
basically.
to
Then,
be.
what you do then, when you're reaching out to these folks at the smoke shop, which I know this can still work, because these guys a lot of times want to legalize marijuana. They will sell more glass and all, if it's legal, because it will be more available. But
It's
they
really-
have to tend it like we would. They have to actually be the one who fills out the back of this form and has it notarized, because they're now responsible for that petition. There's many of them that will do it, we just have to offer it to them, and have these available, these packets. Yes, sir?
You say notarized, what do you mean now? To what degree? Like actually have a notary officer come out there and stamp it?
No, they can take it by their bank, it's very easy. We'll have a
Oh,
list of
but the
places to
smoke
get
shop, there would
notarized.
only need to be one notary, right, for the whole packet?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, not for each signature for the whole packet. You know, it would be immensely important for all of you to become notaries. It only costs about $50.
And you can charge people for the service
Then you can
too.
charge $2, that's what the rate is. for
Well,
it.
not our people, but you can charge
Yeah.
other people, because
I mean, but it would
it's a service.
be
It is.
immensely
How do
important.
you go about it?
You go to the Secretary of State's website, and they have a form. It costs like $48 to become a notary. And then, once you become a notary, then you buy a bond, a licensed bond for $5,000. That costs $25. It takes about 4 to 6 weeks to become a notary. But if you want to pay another $30, you can get it in 2 days. But, you know, we got a long fight here. We got till July 3rd of next year. So it would be immensely important that you get notaries. Another thing, we're going to have to get 20,000 of these things filled out. They don't have to be filled out completely. What I'm saying is you don't have to have 15 lines all filled out.
But they do have to be filled out completely to the end. I've had people come and just try and sign their signature and think that that's okay. They have to put their address, it has to be
The whole thing has to
legible,
be filled out.
all the way to the end, it must be filled out, not just a signature. That's not it.
But if you have a
Don't let me get away
petition,
with it.
you only got 2 names on it, that's 2 good valid names. We don't need that completely filled out.
And how about the full, the couple of the names are in other counties?
Well, you can just cross them out, tell them that their signatures were invalid because they were on the wrong petition.
No, don't
We're
cross
not
them
gonna
out.
cross it out.
Don't cross them out.
Don't cross them out. Yes,
Is it correct that you cannot notarize your own sheet?
Oh,
I have
right.
heard that over and over, and I would
Because-
assume that's correct.
Yes,
Someone,
that is true.
okay, someone who works at the Secretary of State's office told me that today.
So I
It's
would,
true.
I would
Yes.
take it.
So
That
if
is
you become a notary, you still need to get somebody else to notarize your sheets for you.
But now maybe you can trade.
Yes, if
Right.
you are a notary, you may not notarize your own sheet.
I would like to see a notary show up at every normal meeting
That's a fine.
from now until we're on the ballot.
What's that website again? He's a
Your
notary.
Secretary, I
Sweet.
just Google
Right there.
Secretary of
We
State.
got one right here.
Notary, he's a notary.
Excellent.
Far out.
Who's a notary? Put their hand. Well. Well,
That's
they get
really
paid
important.
for
Just
that.
got real for Jason.
Occasional meetings.
So,
Now, I was, go
I
ahead.
heard that there's 4 pages, I only have 3 pages.
Okay, I printed them on both sides.
Okay.
There's nothing saying that it has to be on both sides. As Kathy's doing with 4 separate pages, the law states that the full text of the initiative has to be attached to the petition. Doesn't say it has to be double-sided. I'm trying to save money.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Well, you don't, actually, you have to print both sides, so you still have to pay for the sheet.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
okay.
And that's the thing, we donate, for heaven's sake. Thank you, guys, for your donations, but, donate.
Let's just go over the
What are we
numbers.
doing? Yeah,
Let's just go over the
we need
numbers.
money for stuff.
If we got 20,000 of these printed out, if I had to do it, they cost 30 cents a piece. That comes to $6,500 that I would have to come up with. If you can print them out yourself, that's another immense help. If only you get 20, or if you get 100 of them, go to Kinko's. Get one of them from me, go to Kinko's and say, make me 100 copies. It's gonna cost you $35. You will have contributed to the campaign. but
Well, so, hold on, no, it's a lot, I have to say, it's a lot cheaper at UPS store.
Oh, is it?
It's $15 for 100
well,
there.
that's perfect.
Kinko's, no, Kinko's is always a little high. Let's start going to UPS store, and on Wednesday, there's a special, it's like a 4-cent thing, so it's less.
Well, that's
Because I asked
even
him, I said, I
Go
just
do it on
want to
Wednesday.
know
On
how
Wednesday?
much for 100, we got a couple hundred back there now, for you guys.
Now,
They're here for you.
the
Don't take
petition
them unless you're gonna use them. Just
must
saying.
have this printed on the back. So you got the petition, and you got this on the back. That's for the notary. That's gonna be filled out by the notary. You're gonna have to fill that out in the presence of the notary public. So if you print it out on your home computers, it's gotta be double-sided. You gotta put it and print it again. The back, the full text, does not have to be double-sided. But it has to be attached. So it would be 4 pages, I just got 2 pages.
And it has to be on the 8x14.
It has to be on 8.5 by 14, and you wanna make sure it isn't size. You know, sometimes when you print, they will say size to fit.
And it'll make it 8.5 by 11.
No, it might squeeze it. It might change it.
It's gotta be, this is called legal size. For those of you that didn't know, I didn't know, that this was legal size. So when you ask your printer, UPS store, they're everywhere. UPS store by me, $15 for 100
Perfect.
of petitions. You know, it's not, you know, it was just the petition itself. But we do have about 10, do you have a bunch of the 4-pack?
I do.
For people to take and copy, and, because we have about 10 of the 4-pack back there for you guys, plus many, many petitions.
What I was gonna say is that you don't wanna resize it because the law is very specific. The text here has to be 8 points or more. And if you resize it, it might squeeze it in on the paper, and they might reject them because it would also shrink the text here. Well, I made the full, this is called the title of the text. It's gotta be 100 words or less. That's in 9-point font. So even if it is resized a little bit, but these guys can be really finicky.
They're
Well,
super
they will be on
finicky.
this.
Yeah.
My daughter worked on 203, and I watched it, and she told me, and she gave me the feedback, they are super finicky. Everything has to be just so, and to the point. So we'll rework these and make sure we have all the proper things on here to make sure that this is, that you guys have this basic information. If you're collecting, make sure they count. Make sure they count. Don't just do it willy-nilly. And, you know, the other thing is the ones that we have collected that were a little, you know, don't get rid of them, because let's look at them and make sure, because we, you know, you never know. They might be manageable, you know, depending on where you put county or, you know, whatever. We can still harvest some signatures out of that.
Devin?
Oh, I took a test one time to be a secretary for the state, and I mean, you couldn't even put paper clips, so you might even have to put the staple in one or the other corner.
Yeah, well, the staple should be in the
Very,
upper
it's
left.
a,
Upper left
Very
hand corner, oh,
good.
okay. And then
just like this.
I'm confused too, anyway, it says, I live in Santan Valley, so I'd be in the city or town of Santan Valley. And then the next thing, is that where the business name would be, like
No,
say
And it
J.J.
comes
Smoke
off
Shop?
by saying city or town, because you
Yeah.
don't want to put city or
This is-
town, they only want county, is that
This
correct?
is a generic form that I got from the Secretary of State. And actually,
Oh, just the county.
yeah, you just need the county. The first blank here is the county where the petition signers live.
Okay, and then the next line, is that the name of the
That's the
business?
county that you live in. It
So the one
says,
for the signatures and then the bottom is yours.
Yeah, it says I have personally signed this petition with my first and last names, have not signed any other petition. If you read the fine print, you see. First, it's the signatures you're gathering, is the
I
first,
know, but if I
First
put my
line,
name on this one.
signatures you're gathering, county from, second one is the county you work from.
Can we, on the website, can we put out a filled one?
yeah,
I mean, that'd be
Do
great.
that.
Yeah, we'll also do that,
take
yes.
pictures
We'll
of
put
that one
the
and
schools,
get it up.
yes.
As well as, I think all these points would be good to have on there in case someone
Just,
didn't remember.
yeah, like 3 or 4 good solid points so that we make
Well,
sure
just
they're
make-
valid.
Yeah, we want to make sure they're valid and on it.
That was the whole point of this meeting, and I'm glad that more of us know, because I didn't know a lot of this stuff, you know, we start getting, I didn't work on the signatures for 203, but my daughter did. And she was one of the only people that validated and made sure that these signatures were going through, or not validated, that what the county has to do it, or the state. But you see how much I know. But she just, she's holding her head all the time because people were always complaining because they were paid per signature. And they weren't getting paid but half of what they thought they were getting paid because half of the signatures weren't valid. So they'd be mad at them because they couldn't pay for signatures that weren't valid. That was part of the deal. But who got signatures for 203? Anybody paid signature gatherer? Eric, are you the only one in this room that got signatures for 203?
I never even saw it. I never
This
even
is the
saw
only
one.
man that truly freed the
No,
weed in
there's
this
more
room.
of us that did it.
Let's try it again. Anybody else? Collect signatures for Prop 203? Anybody in this room? Eric,
You guys all suck.
I think, do you see how unorganized, this is how unorganized our state is?
Forget about the past.
Yeah, so on this county, city, and town, if I actually put my town in there, would it be rejected?
I don't think it would.
Because it
It
says.
says
Yeah,
city
it can
town.
be, yeah.
Okay.
I feel
But
like
we should
it's a
try
way
to
to
do
throw us
county
off.
if we
Yeah,
want.
people with the county, because that's what we're consistently doing.
We know that that's not.
There are two questions.
Everybody,
Hey,
we got a couple minutes
this
left.
is really important. There are two questions you should ask somebody when they're going to sign your petition.
Are you a registered voter?
Have you voted in the last election? Have you moved since you voted? Because if they have moved, their registration has changed. And there may not be a valid signature. But if they have voted in the last election and they have not moved, that means their signature is almost perfect. I mean, you can't get any better.
But if they moved and they updated their
And
registration.
then you ask, have you updated your registration? And if they say yes, then you've got a valid. Yes, sir.
Do you know where Safford is? What county Safford is?
I don't know, but I know where it's at.
Cochise?
Yeah.
Good enough answer.
Okay, I'd like to go over, a couple things. When I started thinking about doing this, I looked at some of the statistics. Every year, we're getting about 17,000 adults being arrested in Arizona for marijuana possession alone. 17,000 a year. Last 5 years, I added it up, it was 83,000 people have been arrested for marijuana possession. If you go back 10 years, it's almost 160,000 people have been arrested for marijuana possession. I look at the statistics of our population. We live in a state that has 6.4 million people in it. If I take 1/3 of those people and say they are underage and children, I end up with the value of 4.2 million adults live in Arizona. Nationally, the rate of marijuana use is about 12%. Whenever they do any polling of people, about 12% admit to it, that they use marijuana on a fairly regular basis. That leaves us with 500,000 users of marijuana in our state. 500,000. If everybody that's using marijuana on a regular basis spends $20 a week for marijuana, which is not unreasonable, we have a black market of $510 million. That's $500 million that's being exchanged. Money for marijuana. In the initiative, if it was to be implemented, there would be a 15% excise tax on all wholesale sales. That would be a cultivator would sell to a manufacturer or a packager. When he made that sale, it would be 15%. When the manufacturer sold to a retailer, there's a 15% excise tax again. And when this marijuana is sold through the retail store, it will be at the sales tax rate, which is about 10% approximately. We would end up raising almost $150 million in revenue for the state of Arizona if this was implemented. That's a lot of money. I might be off by half. It might only be $75 million. But the very last line of the title right here says that half of the revenue is going to go to the Department of Health. That's our hospitals, mental institutions, clinics, Maricopa County Hospital. And if, a couple weeks ago I went down floating down the river. and I got to this nice little sandbar, and I had a nice little break, had some lunch, looked across the river, there were 7 sheriff department pickup trucks. Perfect, brand new, polished, clean, everything. Each one had 2 guys in it. There was a helicopter flying by with a guy hanging out the window and had sheriff on his side. I was looking at almost $500,000 in equipment. And then came up the river a swamp boat from the sheriff's department.
I do too.
It's a little too big for that river.
Now, when you think about what would happen if you had sliced your foot on the river and you had to go to the county hospital to get your foot fixed, or your leg, or whatever, you would find that there's hardly any doctors there. You'd find you could wait for hours and hours. But I swear, you light a duty on that river and they will be on you like stink on shit.
Dennis, you know they took me off that river.
I know they
That
did.
whole SWAT team. All of them.
I know.
5 cookies.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that
$1,000.
when somebody's talking to you about how bad marijuana is, look at how bad our priorities at the state are. If we didn't spend all this money trying to track us down and hunt us down, we could spend the money on our county hospitals. We could have county clinics. We just had a nutcase down in Tucson kill a federal judge, blow a half brains out of a representative, Gabby, and he could, his parents said he's nuts. They had no place to take him. Another thing that's happened, as we all know, high school kids can get marijuana easier than they can get beer.
Oh, you don't say.
Yeah. But you know what? The cartel is operating in our communities.
What's worse is they're getting a hold of the pill
Hold on.
quicker.
You know what the cartel will do? They will trade heroin for marijuana. If your kid has some marijuana and they're buying marijuana from the cartel, they will trade a dab of heroin. 1 week, a kid gets to use heroin for 1 week and they got withdrawal. They're hooked. This is important. We're trying to make Arizona a safer place.
It's a big problem in Gilbert, heroin.
Nobody's
teenagers.
talking about
In
this.
Gilbert, yes.
And
Meth too, there's another one. And
Now, I
these
know
things
that
only
is
kill
a strategy that the cartel is using it. I've heard it from 3 different sources.
well, they know they're losing the weed war, so they want to transition into the harder stuff. And the more clientele they get, it continues their business. That's all they're interested in.
They don't care about us.
No.
And the government doesn't care about us either. We are criminals in their eyes. The county attorney from Maricopa County, in an interview, in a debate with Mark Victor, which has come here and spoke, has said on tape that people who are only people that can afford the constitutional protection are morally and religious. He believes that if you are not morally religious, you are not entitled to the constitutional protection of our 10th Amendment rights, our Bill of Rights. I mean, Montgomery, he says that on tape.
He's our neighbor.
Well, that's great. Montgomery can be helped with the Arizona Constitution.
The county attorney for Maricopa County and the county attorney for Pima County, which is in Tucson, ran unopposed in the last election. Unopposed, and they're both radical drug warriors. They want to get us all. They want to put us all in prison. Well, if they put us all in prison, there's 500,000 of us. There isn't enough jail cells. We got to do something.
Build more private prisons, right?
Yep.
That's what.
And I'd like to, one thing I'd like to say, this is off subject, when you leave, pick up the cigarette butts outside.
Always.
Clean the place up so we can come back.
And they're gonna enter on the way out.
Only the roaches to me.
Well, I don't do the cigarette.
This is a leave no trace organization.
Leave no trace.
Yes.
And when I was doing this, I ran into this saying that I'd like to say to you all, and I'd like you to think about. To commit to a righteous cause in the face of overwhelming odds is absurd. To not commit to a righteous cause in the face of overwhelming odds is equally absurd. But only one option offers the possibility of human dignity. And let's do this. Let's show them our dignity.
Thank you, Dennis. Stay there for a second.
I got something for you.
Man of the Year award.
Basically. This is Dennis's
honorary membership
Oh, wow.
for what he's doing for our cause in Arizona. An original member.
Are you gonna have a
Normal, and we
raffle?
want you to feel like I do. Proud to be normal.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Let's
you.
wrap it up. Any questions? Anybody have any questions?
Put on the
before we-
raffle.
Oh, the raffle, sorry, guys. See, I always forget.
Give me my membership.
So many things. That's right. Okay, who's gonna win a membership? Free membership tonight. Anybody who got here by 7:15 got a free raffle ticket. Just saying. Like to get you in here on time. What do we got? Where's Kevin? Free membership. There you go. You didn't even know he had a raffle ticket. How'd you get a raffle ticket? You posted your Proud to Be Normal tag on the bud, and you tagged us on Facebook.
And you were here.
You guys, you're all dismissed. Thank you so much for coming out. Normal and Gilbert.
For the tree.
Yes, I did notice that actually, I appreciate it.
Oh, that's right.
When you leave, pick up the cigarette butts outside.
Always.
Please.
Oh, yeah.
Clean the
Leave
place up so
no
we can come
trace.
back.
And they're not out there on the
Trace.
way out.
Only the roaches for me. I mean, I don't.
Well,
I don't do the surface.
This is a leave no trace organization.
leave no trace.